By way of introduction of myself, I'm Anjana Parekh. I'm the Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academic, and I am now standing between you and fine dinner and wine. Saki, we are having wine, are we?
Yes,
okay. But I just want to for purposes of protocol, I'm married to a retired diplomat, and in the diplomatic world, they used to always start off by saying all protocol observed. Until one day, one of the ministers stood up and said, actually it was the former president, one of the former presidents of the country, who stood up and said, when these diplomats say all protocol observed, they're actually just being very lazy. So I don't want to be seen to be very lazy, so let me take this opportunity to welcome Provost Barbara. Really great to have you. Professor Kathy Yamo, who is the chair of the Education and Innovation Group. I want to also welcome my colleague, Professor Sorobsina, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, who you met this morning. He had the wonderful task of introducing our wonderful Deputy Minister this morning. It was a great speech from him. I'm very proud of our Deputy Minister. May I also take this opportunity to formally welcome Prof. Saki Gravett, who's been the organizing and the brains behind today and this past couple of days' events. So can we give it a round of applause? And I just want to take this opportunity also to welcome other colleagues from UJ that are here. My colleagues Kirti Menon, Theo de Wet, Pretorius, all of you are here this evening, and I'm very happy to see you all. But I do want to thank, more importantly, each and every one of you who's come from abroad. It's been a very special and long planning that's gone into this event, and I'm really pleased that so many of you have taken the time out of your very, very busy schedule to be with us at this important occasion. And I'm hoping that we have laid out Africa's finest for you, both in terms of where you're staying at the moment, the access to wonderful cuisine, meeting very nice people, and that you take back with you wonderful, wonderful memories. But that's my speech for tomorrow, when I do the closing. But I just want to say that often we talk about the future, and certainly the narrative around 4IR has made us think more and more about what the future holds for us, what the future holds for our children and their children and their children. And the universities as we know it today, are they going to exist? What kind of universities are they going to be in the next 10, 20, perhaps 50 odd years from now? We may never, as Prof. Marwala said yesterday, we may never be around to see it all. But yes, there is change. And change can be both frightening, but it can also be exciting. It can bring out the worst in us, it can bring out the best in us. But whatever we do, whatever our approach is, we have to go in to the understanding the changes, knowing very well that whatever the changes may be, there might be people out there who are going to be left behind. And it's our responsibility as educators to ensure that we do not leave people behind, that we do not leave individuals, we do not leave organizations such as universities, we do not leave nation states behind. And what I like about the U21 and the participation is it's a sense that we're all in this together, whether we are from the south or whether we're from the north, whether we're from the east and whether we're the west, we all share a common faith. And that as a collective, we can pool our ideas, our energy, our resources, our knowledge, to begin to say, how can we begin to influence the direction we take going into the future? I'm hoping that today and the last couple of days, while it's great, we talk, we share ideas, we enjoy each other's company, but that we will come out with something that will be almost a roadmap to engage, to say, how do we take things forward as a collective? And I'm going to talk about hoping that many of the great ideas and the best practice and the good practices that we've heard over the last couple of days, that we will be able to document those good practices so that we can share it amongst ourselves and with our wider university communities. I'm a firm believer that we don't reinvent the wheel. That if something is already happening and has been done very well elsewhere, we need to learn. We may need to modify it to accommodate our circumstances, but we need to learn from very good practices. And the practices exist all over, as evidenced over the last couple of days and by the comments that I've heard from participants and the colleagues around the room. 4IR opens up the world to many, many exciting possibilities. But there's also a dark side to it. There's a dark side that we need to understand, and we need to make sure that in whatever we do, we're always understanding and we're acknowledging that there is a side to this that can be quite detrimental. So often we hear words that, with 4IR, people are going to lose their jobs because robots will take over, things will be automated. And on one hand, it sounds kind of exciting to think that, I don't need a domestic helper at home. I can have a robot cleaning and vacuuming my home and my carpets and whatever. But there is somebody that's going to be without a job. And there's going to be somebody whose entire livelihood is going to be eroded because of that robot. And it's all very well to say, let's train. Let's develop them for new skills. But we also begin to understand that is it everyone that's going to develop a new skill? And what are those skills? So how do you take the most impoverished person and people in our communities into that future as well? Universities have responsibility to society, and it's our role to ensure that we're not only developing the next generation of thought leaders, but it's our role as well to ensure that that future that we map out going forward will also take along whole societies and whole communities so that no one is left behind. That's a huge responsibility that rests on the shoulders of universities. And I hope that we all as a collective can rise to that occasion. So on that note, I'm going to say, please enjoy your dinner, and we can say more when we meet socially this evening and more when we meet more formally tomorrow. Enjoy the dinner, enjoy South Africa's finest hospitality. The one thing, we've noticed a lot about UJ, but there's one thing that I will constantly share and kind of almost own as my own. It's not my own. But we have one of the finest hotel schools in the continent and globally. We've got the best of food, and South Africa, as many of you already know, has got some of the finest wines. I hope when you're going back, you're going to be taking some of those very good bottles of wine. And if you're coming from Europe and America, it's very cheap for you. So enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.